What's up, everybody? Welcome to InCamp, the Whitetail Brief. I have your favorite on so far, Mr. Rich Yoder himself. What's up, dude?
How's it going, buddy?
You're at the work grind right now and getting all the projects done because I know you're gonna have a stellar opening week to the season, yeah?
Hope so. It's looking good. Don't get me wrong. I might lay out a bunch of does, but something.
For sure. I was actually on a podcast with Dan Johnson this morning, and there was three of us on that podcast, and the guy that was on, Nate. I'm sorry, Nate. I don't remember your last name. I'm sure I'll see it soon. But I mentioned about the importance of shooting does early on to kind of like knock the cobwebs off and stuff. And it's
Yeah,
easy to say. It's easy to say as soon as you get in that tree, it's pretty easy to shift to shooting bucks, but you're one of my buddies who knows how to knock the cobwebs off. What's your strategy behind killing does early? Because I know you do it.
yeah. So, not that it's a super complex thing, but I treat the first week of the season in two ways. One, I know that my pressure is going to be low because luckily for me, everybody still thinks that September's too hot to shoot deer. And by the time you recover, your meat is already spoiled. Glad that we know a little different. And two, it's the first time that they're getting a good whiff of anybody other than people setting tree stands. So, leading up to that first week of the season, I do have a few properties that the landowners really want those shot. So, what I honestly do is I update all my weather apps right before the first week of the season. Honestly, not even for the fact of the predictions, but DeerCast from Jury has been one of my favorites because the weather is very spot on. It'll actually give you like almost like a micro atmosphere as far as the report goes, because it could be different from two locations that are 15 minutes apart. So
Yeah.
that part's nice. And then what I do is I go to all my properties on X, and I actually would blow it up so that all the tips of the property touch the outside of my screen. I screen shoot it, and then I resave that into a folder that is just hunting properties. And then what I'll do is I'll just get a game plan, Friday before the Saturday opener. I'll figure out where I'm hunting all week, and then also I've been running cameras, so I know a general pattern. I just literally move in, I kill the does on the wind that I can. I already know that the big does, you know, they're not messed with yet. They're on a feeding pattern. So especially farm land properties, if it's so funny because of course it's September, we'll treat it like it's October, but if I've got a crop property
Hmm.
and I know that I've got oaks and acorns, I'm gonna hunt oaks and acorns. I could care less about whatever the soybeans or the corn is doing, just because it really narrows down my shooting. If you give me a 10-acre soybean field, that's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
If you give me a 1 acre area or a little small, tiny little piece of elevation or a small ridge of some oaks, well, I know I'm probably going to get a shot. Um, and then the other thing too is, of course, around home, our chestnuts, our apples, all that stuff is dropping. So I really focus in on the food that's going to be there for a very short period of time, and just go in and get it done. And kind of like you said about it's easy to get in the tree and then start thinking about bucks. But for me, I shoot the first mature doe that comes by um, every time,
Yeah.
especially the first week of September, just because once you get that freezer full, knock the cobwebs off, then you got the shakes are out of the way, the bow's tuned in. If you're shooting new gear for the year, you got some confidence and you got meat in the freezer. You can enjoy some good meals, and it takes just a lot of the fuzzies away and gets you right.
Yeah. I mean, you are a meat hoarder. We all know that.
I do like, well, yeah, I do like stocking freezer.
So there is one thing that I would say is last year your strategy changed a little bit because normally you're, 3 or 4 does deep before you decide you're going to hunt a buck. But last year was a little bit on the special side. Last year played a little bit different for the opener for you. Could you tell people why?
Unusual to my normal patterns around home. I had a really good buck on a property. Well, the long and the short of it is a landowner adjacent to a very small property that I had passed away. And what that did was that left 68 acres, I think it is,
Mhm.
untouched for an entire summer. So the place grew up, all the weeds, all the fields that were hay fields never got cut. It was just absolutely untouched, besides a couple people that hunted it. And again, going back to the fact that they don't hunt until October, it just left it as just prime ground where the deer weren't messed with. So I had a couple good bucks hitting a very small 5 acre property that I had access to, where I typically shoot a doe the first week.
Mhm.
But the bucks were very patternable. So I just focused on killing a buck first off and look out. Had two sits, missed the buck I wanted to shoot the first night, killed the buck I wanted to shoot the second night I started. Um, yeah, and I think that pattern went literally like Tuesday, because I had a wedding that weekend, so I didn't get to hunt the opener.
Yeah.
Tuesday night, I missed him. Thursday night, I killed him. Saturday night was the next sit. I shot a doe. I think I only sat one other time in between shooting another doe and then another doe. I think in archery last year, I actually seriously think I only sat 6 sits. I shot 4 deer.
The
And don't get me wrong, like that, if you think about it, and that's, I know we always have this discussion, but you start talking other states, and I'm not, what I mean, putting the almighty Pennsylvania on a pedestal, but, you know, prime example, that property that I hung last year and shot that buck,
yeah.
a new landowner moved in this year, a younger farmer. He moved in, he cut the field 3 cuttings of hay. He put horses and donkeys next to the property that I own,
Yeah.
and there is kids running around on 4 wheelers all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bet you that if I shoot a medium doe at that property that I have, I'll be playing the lottery for 2 weeks, and the only thing that's showing up is a spike buck and a forkhorn. And I mean, you could probably go out there and eat apples with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And get a shot.
Right. You definitely have to capitalize when the getting's good, and I do remember you telling me a couple times, either watching the property or hunting the property or just seeing it on camera, you're like, "These deer are running into this food source in the evening hours." Just and that's when you know a food source is good, when they're not wasting any time getting there.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's pretty important too. I really feel like, so I still will mobile hunt a lot of these early seasons because they're just not spots that I want to. I don't know how to stand there come mid or late October or even rut hunt.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of mistakes that guys make are that, they have their stand, which could be very productive in late October or November for bucks cruising. But,
Mhm.
they get in there early season, and even if they want to shoot though, they're just not quite in the right spot, but they have a stand set. So that's what they sit.
Right.
So then you start doing the math or the consideration of, okay, well, now you sat mornings, and I know there's, a lot of juju against sitting mornings in September or even early October. You get in there, you lay down a bunch of scent. Even if you're gonna hunt evenings, I like evenings better than mornings in early season. You're just doing a lot of educating without killing. I'd rather go into 4 different properties, shoot 4 does the first time in if I can, and then just don't hunt until October.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, unless you get something worth hunting, because it's so funny. It's back to that old phrase of, you can't kill them from the couch. But in all honesty, if it's not worth hunting, there's just no reason to hunt.
Yeah.
You're just, this, if you're really wanting to kill animals, then, you better weigh your odds to the best of your ability and go in there on the right wind or the right situation versus just kind of muddy in the water just to hunt.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
that a lot in the early season.
Yeah. That's such a good point too, because especially for people that are hunting small properties, that's so important, is spreading that time out and giving those deer a time of decreased pressure, especially if you care about killing deer later on, whether or not it's a big buck. I mean, if you blow that property out in the beginning and don't give it some rest time, it's probably over for the season.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And, where we're at down here, a lot of the deer that we do have are just not, they're not there through to, like, again, I had a food source. So yeah, I had some bucks last year. But if you don't have a really good food source, you're just and the cover and all the variables that go into this. You're just not going to have the bigger bucks, but you're going to have the does because there's plenty of does. So if you don't let that area sit and rest to let them get into it, or at least even leave the does get settled again, so that the bucks are going to come in and get into some doe bedding during the rut, you're just going to have poor odds to shoot a buck to begin with. So I don't know. I know it's might be backwards, but it's almost more efficient to go in there the first week, kill a big doe, get out, and let it settle.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think killing does early has really done for your success in deer hunting in general, especially when you're talking about thwarting buck fever?
So it definitely knocks the jitters out. You will quickly realize if there's something wrong with the setup that you're attempting to use, which is a big thing. A lot of times you get into a situation and maybe there's something you didn't realize or you didn't see, or there's just some learning moments to be had.
Yeah,
Even if that's right down to like broadheads. I
yeah,
mean, many times I've literally had you know broadheads that didn't fly right, or something that I just didn't realize that in practice everything was okay,
hmm,
and then come actual time to hunt, you might catch it where it's just something you didn't see or you didn't think of.
yeah, I agree. I'm one of those people that's not very good at killing does early on, and I tell myself every year, you need to be more like Rich and kill some does early on. And this is the year, man. I've got 10 tags in my pocket, a bunch of I'm ready to go, dude. I'm telling you. What's your plan moving into late October?
So I'll be hunting bucks, of course, if I don't shoot a buck. In October, we're going up to camp for about 10 days straight.
Yep,
So, I sent you a picture yesterday. I just picked that decoy up today. Man, you should see that thing. It is ridiculous.
that's gonna be so cool.
Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. The way that he was able to make it, and I mean, it's just ridiculous. That's all I can say. I mean, the thing looks so real, it's stupid. Northwestern Pennsylvania for late October into November. I'm hoping I've already started a buck by then. It's not going to be a good time. I'm really not going to be that picky this year. There's some other things that I'd like to tackle and do. Quite honestly, I'm just not. I don't know how much I have it in me, and not that I was ever a big buck killer, but like, I just don't. I don't know. I like shooting stuff. So for me, the whole holdout on a certain deer is just not. It's just not in me. As I get a little older, I lose it more. I feel like more of a kid, more like I'm 15 years old and I want to shoot the first thing that walks by, which sometimes you got to really, think back on.
Yeah,
Um, I just really, I enjoy, I enjoy the hunt. I enjoy successfully harvesting animals. If it's a deer I'm going to be proud of, or he gets me excited, he's going to get shot. And I don't particularly care of any other opinions on that.
yeah,
Um, but, I love it. I just,
yeah. And the experience and the fun is definitely what we've been chasing, and I know we talked about that on both our other podcasts, and talked about it with Judd today a little bit. And it's definitely the thing that drives pretty much anything I choose to kill is what am I getting out of this experience? And most of the time, it's like it's a ton of fun. And we got to experience some of that this fall. So this is not going to be the only whitetail brief Rich is on. So we'll keep in touch with you, Rich, on the end of October end of things and see how things are going. And hopefully we get to I'm hoping to get up to camp with you for that, maybe that first week in November, and do a little rut hunting too. So maybe we'll do a little round table whitetail brief up there at some point. If not, there will be the rifle season, folks. But
absolutely, it's going to be ugly.
yeah. So in summary, we've talked about dusting off the cobwebs. We've talked about early season food sources. We've talked about the importance of experiencing the hunt, not just the kill. And man, Rich is a wealth of knowledge on these whitetails. So thanks for coming on, buddy. I appreciate it.
No problem. Fine.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.